Welcome to another entry in my Resident Evil lore series covering the Files, the set of diaries, notes, and reports left behind describing the horrors of the Resident Evil universe. Last time I covered the Umbrella Corporation's terrible experiments resulting in the creation of the T-103 Tyrant variants. The reports describe the kidnappings of adolescents and their ultimate fates on Sheena Island. This time, from the Antarctic fringes of Resident Evil Code Veronica, we'll be exploring another T-Virus variant and the obsessed mind behind its creation and use, Alexia Ashford. Before we get started, here's a quick shout out to all my Patreon members for your continued support. You guys help make this channel possible and contribute to keeping these videos flowing. If you'd like to have your name up here too, gain exclusive benefits like sneak peeks, progress updates, behind the scenes, access to the Discord channel, and early access to my timeline videos, go to patreon.com/GamerThumbTV or click the link in the description to get started. Now let's get into some more Resident Evil Files lore with the T-Veronica Reports. The most recognizable virus in Resident Evil lore is the T-Virus. Not only does it make zombies and other monsters, but it's also the basis for a ton of other viruses. Resident Evil Code Veronica introduces us to the variant virus, the T-Veronica virus, an endeavor begun by Umbrella to solve the problem of the T-Virus's mental degradation. What resulted was the discovery of a retrovirus existing in the genome of some ant queens. That virus was combined with the original progenitor virus and some plant genes, and we have T-Veronica. Once successfully bonded to a host, T-Veronica drastically changes their appearance, giving them super strength, and changes their blood into a flammable chemical that can combust when in contact with oxygen. And yet there is still a risk of mental degradation and random mutations. The creation of T-Veronica begins with Alexander Ashford, the son of one of Umbrella's co-founders, Edward Ashford. In one of his early experiments, he sought to create a genius child, modeled after one of his ancestors, a sort of resurrection of his family's former status and reputation. In Code Veronica, in the Antarctic Transport Terminal on B4, a file can be found on one of the seats for the control panel, written by Alexander Ashford. The Code Veronica report describes the results of this experiment. It reads, "After many long years of research, I finally identified the inheritance element that administers the intelligence of man. I even succeeded in manipulating the absolute value of intelligence artificially by recomposing the base alignment of the element. I then sampled the gene of our great ancestor, manipulated its element, then implanted it into the unfertilized egg of a surrogate mother. What I didn't expect was that twins, a boy and a girl, were born. The boy had higher intelligence than normal, but not high enough for him to be considered a genius. However, the girl had unmatched intelligence that easily allowed her to be classified as a genius. She was exactly what I'd been looking for, the revival of our great ancestor. I already determined their names. The girl's name Alexia, the boy's name Alfred. I'm certain that Alexia will elevate the name of the Ashford family to extreme glory." Alexander's experiment resulted in the birth of Alfred and Alexia Ashford, two artificially created children that he raised as his own. They were both intelligent, but Alexia in particular had genius-level intellect. On the fourth floor of the private residence and the private study, on the wooden steps, the newspaper clip could be found reporting on Alexia's intelligence at a young age. It reads, "A 10-year-old girl genius graduated at the top of her class from a prestigious university. The international corporation Umbrella Chemical Inc. offered her the position of head researcher." Alexia officially became employed by Umbrella and became directly involved in their virus research alongside her father. In the Antarctic Transport Terminal, on the desk in Alexia's study on B6, the research report on Queen Ant can be found, written by Alexia Ashford, and describes her discovery of the eventual T-Veronica virus, and it reveals the fate of her father. "After discovering the remains of an ancient virus within the genes of a queen ant, I've been concentrating on the research of ants. The ecosystem of the ants seems truly ideal to me. There's one queen ant in each anthill, and the soldier and worker ants are the queen slaves. They dedicate their lives to the queen. The death of the queen ant means the doom of the entire anthill. However, the soldier and worker ants can easily be replaced as long as the queen ant is alive. This is exactly the same relationship between myself and other ignorant masses. I have succeeded in creating an ideal virus by implanting the queen ant's gene into the mother virus that Spencer found. I used my otherwise useless father as a test subject. However, as I expected, the virus caused a rapid change in his cells, triggering the complete destruction of his brain cells and body flesh. Furthermore, a special type of poison gas was generated inside his body that the blue herb had no effect against. Because of this, I created an antidote in case of emergency and stored it inside of the weapon chemical warehouse on the B2 floor. I've decided to name this virus with unimaginable potential the T-Veronica virus. When I find out how I can fully utilize the power of this wonderful virus, my great research will finally be complete. Over time, Alexia became completely obsessed with the T-Veronica virus and developed a personality of a megalomaniac. She desired to perfect the virus and use it to take over the world. She learned from experimenting on her father that it was unstable. The only way to stabilize the infection and bond with T-Veronica was to allow the virus to slowly spread over time. But the host had to survive in the meantime.
I've got you now.
And Alexia decided to freeze herself for 15 years in order to successfully bond with it. The Antarctic Transport Terminal in Alexia's lab on B6. The virus research report can be found on a console here. It's written by Alexia and describes her plans for the future, plans for herself, and plans for the world. It reads, work continues on the T-Veronica virus, which I extracted from the Queen Ant. The more research I conduct on it, the more I'm impressed by how much potential it has. I finally implanted the virus into my own body and discovered how to fully utilize its power. I'll avoid making the same mistake I made on my father. I'll suppress the activity of the virus at an ultra-low temperature so that my cells will change slowly. My calculations indicate it'll take 15 years before my body will gain immunity and become able to coexist with the virus. Until then, I have no choice but to trust the capsule that I'll be in, to that inept but loyal soldier ant who's my brother. For me to obtain unlimited power, some risks need to be taken. When I awaken, I will be the queen, and the T-Veronica virus will be unleashed upon the entire world by my children. Every last creature on Earth will exist to serve me. At that time, the world will achieve the perfect ecosystem, just like an anthill, but on a much grander scale. And for our final file today, we have Alfred's diary, written by Alfred Ashford. It describes his feelings on their father and his thoughts behind his sister Alexia's goals. It's found inside a locked cupboard on B2 in the Antarctic Transport Terminal's office. It reads, January 30th. There's a sealed room in the hallway located inside of the Antarctic facility. I don't know what's hidden there, but I do know how to get in. I can use the 3 jewels that each one of our 3 family members wear as proof of being a legitimate descendant of the Ashford family. The only problem is, I do not know how I can gain possession of my father's proof. February 17th. I finally succeeded in entering that sealed room. I never could have imagined that such an insane secret existed regarding the birth of both Alexia and myself. I hate my father. That fool, Alexander. Now it's obvious that we were merely created in an attempt to cover my father's blunder. I can never trust him again. I must regain the glory of the Ashford family with my sister. I have nothing to be afraid of as long as Alexia is with me. March 3rd. Alexia carried out the experiment on the human body that we've been talking about. Our useless father must be happy now, since he could finally contribute to the Ashford family. The only thing we should be careful about is that Butler Harmon does not become wise to our activities. April 22nd. The experiment resulted in failure. Our father was useless after all. Even worse, he turned into a dangerous monster that's completely out of control. We tied him down and locked him up in an underground prison cell. However, Alexia seems to be close to a solution. Beyond all my expectations, she now says that she wishes to conduct the experiment on her own body. On top of that, she feels she must be kept asleep for 15 years in order to accomplish the experiment. Thanks to that idiot, I can't see my dear Alexia for as long as 15 years. Alexia's going to sleep, with all of her trust relying upon me. Now I'm the only one who could protect Alexia. And those are the T-Veronica Reports, culminating in the creation of the T-Veronica virus and Alexia Ashford's mission to take over the world with its power once she awakens from her slumber. What are your thoughts on these reports, and which others would you like to see me cover? That's the video. Catch you guys later.
Chris, since you're one of my best men, I'll let you handle